Welcome to today's news wrap up. Let's dive right into the top stories making headlines today. The Trump administration has defended its authority to deport members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua under the Alien Enemies Act of 1978. A federal judge temporarily halted deportation flights, even ordering planes already in the air to return. The White House argued that the court's order was invalid as the flights were over international waters and beyond the judge's jurisdiction. Officials emphasized that the administration's actions align with its constitutional powers to protect national security. Legal challenges continue with the expedited appeals underway to address the court's rulings. President Trump has declared that pardons issued by President Biden using an auto pen are invalid, arguing that Biden was unaware of the documents being signed. Trump criticized the process, suggesting that those involved may have committed a crime. Of course, because remember, some of the things that were signed by auto pen, Biden don't even remember anything about them. Nara Tanden, a former White House staff secretary, defended the use of auto pen signatures, pointing out their prevalence in past administrations. Yeah, but past administrations didn't have a feeble-minded president. The controversy has raised questions about the legitimacy of such pardons and the authority of aides who may have exceeded their roles. Legal and political debates continue over the implications of this practice. We know that Trump, he got defined terms about this auto pen for major signatures. He doesn't use auto pen for. He signs them himself, like as it should be. In February, the Trump administration achieved a significant reduction in inflation. I alluded to this before a few days ago, cutting the monthly rate in half compared to the previous month. This marked a reversal of the upwards trend seen during the final months of the Biden administration. Key factors included a focus on increasing domestic energy production, reducing regulations, and balancing the budget. Core inflation, which excludes volatile categories like food and energy, fell to its lowest level since April 2021. The administration's comprehensive approach involving multiple departments aims to sustain this progress and bring long-term price stability. MSNBC host Simone Sanders Townsend announced her decision to leave the Democratic Party, citing frustration with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Senate Democrats. I don't believe her for one bit. But her dissatisfaction stemmed from their support of a Republican-led resolution aimed at averting a government shutdown, which she described as, quote, folding like a paper napkin. Townsend, a former advisor to prominent Democratic leaders, stated her intent to register as an independent. She criticized Senate Democrats for failing to stand firm against Trump's administration, contrasting this with the unity demonstrated by House Democrats under Hakeem Jeffries. Townsend warned that Schumer's actions may have catalyzed the emergence of the Democratic Tea Party, signaling potential internal challenges for the party's leadership. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been ordered to pay over $54,000 for violating Georgia's open records law during the prosecution of Donald Trump. A judge ruled that Willis's office intentionally failed to provide requested documents, including those related to the employment of Nathan Wade, a former special assistant district attorney who resigned due to a romantic relationship with Willis. The court found that Willis's office acted in bad faith, with its records custodian openly hostile towards the attorney requesting the documents. You know, we have FOIA for a reason. The ruling also granted injunctive relief, requiring Willis to release the requested records within 30 days. Critics argue this reflects a lack of accountability in handling legal obligations. She's all for the law, except for when the law is against her, then she totally ignores it, right? Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer promotional events for his book, Anti-Semitism in America, A Warning, has been postponed due to security concerns. So remember when they said that they were worried about right-wing extremism? It's nothing. They have nothing would compare to left-wing extremism. That's exactly why he having to cancel this, because of his own party. But the book's release coincides with criticism Schumer faced for supporting a procedural vote on a Trump-backed government funding measure, which he later opposed in the final vote. His actions have drawn mixed reactions within the Democratic Party, with some members expressing frustration over his decision. Schumer defended his stance, emphasizing this severe consequences of a government shutdown compared to the flaws in the funding bill. The situation highlights ongoing tensions and debates within the party over leadership and strategy. And the infighting is not going to get any better, because you got people trying to pull the Democrat Party towards the middle, and then you got the people on the far left don't want them to move back towards the middle. And talking about the rise in violence, the rise in anti-Trump violence across the nation has gained attention, particularly as acts of arson and vandalism target Tesla facilities due to Elon Musk's involvement in cost-cutting government initiatives. Incidents include shootings at dealerships, Molotov cocktails thrown at vehicles, and graffiti on Tesla property. Critics argue that such acts qualify as domestic terrorism, which I definitely believe it does, aimed at advancing political goals through fear and destruction. That's the clear definition of of terrorism. Authorities have apprehended individuals, including a suspect in Colorado found with explosives, and investigations into these incidents continue. The FBI is actively addressing these threats, emphasizing that political disagreement should never escalate into violence. The situation raises concerns about the increasing polarization and hostility in society. Again, remember when they were telling us we need to worry about right-wing extremism, and the media totally ignored this left-wing violence that's going on. Parents in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, are raising concerns after Fleetwood Elementary School organized a field trip for second graders. This is second graders we're talking about here, to the Alice Paul Center for Gender Justice. Why do second graders need to go to this? Second graders just need to be kids. They need to let kids be kids instead of foisting this nonsense on these children. But the center, named after a suffrage leader, recently expanded its mission to advocate for all oppressed gender identities. Parents were upset about the decision to exclude them as chaperones and require students to bring cash. Critics argue that the trip lacks transparency and could be an attempt to promote specific ideologies. School officials have not commented, further fueling suspicions and debates over the appropriateness of the trip. President Trump has declared that pardons issued by President Biden using the auto pen, which I talked to a little bit earlier, are invalid, arguing that Biden was unaware of the documents being signed. I should have had this up a little bit further when I talked about this earlier. That's my bad on that. But Trump criticized the process, suggesting that those involved may have committed a crime. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has called for an investigation into whether Biden's staff exploited his mental decline to implement policies without his approval. That's what I think happened. The controversy has raised questions about the legitimacy of auto pen signed documents and the authority of aides who may have exceeded their roles. Legal and political debates continue over the implications of this practice. And lastly, James Carville, a prominent Democratic strategist who I talk about a lot, predicts that the party will shift its stance on transgender athletes in women's sports as it conflicts with the view of most Americans. I wholeheartedly disagree with James Carville on this. I think the loony left has taken over the party, and I don't see them ever going back towards the middle, which most Americans are. But he referenced California Governor Newsom's recent opposition to male athletes competing in female sports, which Newsom described as deeply unfair. And Newsom was attacked for that. He was attacked badly because of his stance there. But and Newsom's slight move towards the middle, I don't think is going to be believable anyway. But Carville emphasized that public opinion currently opposes this issue, with nearly 80% of Americans, including 67% of Democrats, expressing disapproval. He suggested that athletic associations, rather than legislative bodies, should address eligibility rules for sports. Carville also warned that pushing unpopular policies could inadvertently strengthen opposition to the Democratic Party. He is correct on that. But that's all for today's news wrap up. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.